Good morning, good afternoon. Well, this is sort of where it started 6 to 8 months ago. We were seeking to have possibly have a landfill in the Lenox, New Haven area. And I can say today we are officially withdrawing our application for the landfill. In fact, it's already been submitted. And we've also withdrawn all our options on the property. So none of the property that we're looking at for the landfill is Rizzo Environmental Services. All the property's been dropped. We've reapplied for the amendment of the solid waste plan, and this would basically promote exporting garbage out of the county and promoting any additional recycling opportunities that the county could get. Again, the solid waste plan hasn't been amended for over 15 years, so there's a lot of things that should be done. And per the solid waste plans, they're supposed to be updated every 5 years. So again, we've withdrawn the landfill. There will be no landfill, at least by Rizzo Environmental Services. We feel that with the opportunities that exist now, St. Clair County is actually looking to take waste into their county landfill, which in the past they have accepted no waste from any other counties. The Detroit incinerator looks to be going well on its way. They've just gotten approved with $60 million in bonding. They signed up a Chrysler contract that was recently in the articles, Crane's article and some other articles, regarding their long-term waste energy, selling the steam in that to the new Chrysler facility. And we've got long-term contracts with them in place. Part of our biggest concern was when Detroit went bankrupt, we really thought the Detroit incinerator was going to close. And today, that's where 90% of our waste goes. So now that that's been cemented in place, and the option of going to St. Clair County, and we've also been approached by Brent Run, which is in Genesee County, and we're currently in the middle of amending the solid waste plan for Oakland County, where we're trying to get a transfer station approved and have an operational facility in the city of Pontiac. And all that waste would go to the Brent Run landfill if everything's successful. And they've successfully rediverted a river, which has never been done in the history of expanding landfills. And the river was rediverted, and the landfill's been expanded for over 25 years. So we've got some really viable options. The options will not lead us to be dependent on our competitors. These are third-party companies that we don't compete with in the open market, and that was our biggest concern. A lot of what's come out in all this was that there's 25 years of landfill capacity in several landfills in Wayne County, and there was no need for our landfill. But the reality is all those landfills were controlled by our competitors, and so was the pricing. So with these other viable options, our goal now is to get the solid waste plan amended, and then we can proceed with going to these other options. So it's also in part of our agreement that we've basically submitted an agreement to the New Haven to terminate and release them of any potential liability. Again, terminated all our purchase agreements on all the proposed landfill sites, terminated and withdrew our current application looking for a landfill, and again, resubmitted to be able to export waste out of Macomb County to other neighboring counties. And a lot of what we learned or what we're asking for with Macomb County is the same that is what Oakland County currently has. So Oakland County really has a solid waste plan in place that promotes exporting the garbage. We worked with a lot of people to get here this morning. I want to thank the village president, Jamie Kincaid. He helped with the St. Clair County solution, and we really appreciate that. He worked hard putting us both together. Again, and it's a huge alternative of instead of using Pine Tree Acres. We've also worked with the citizens of Better Macomb County. This group, obviously opposed us every step of the way, and we are pleased that we're able to reasonably work together and in both kind of have a big picture of this alternative plan. I want to also thank the St. Clair County Board of Commissioners Chairman Jeffrey Bone. He worked hard to get and worked with us to try to, again, clear this point up and really help us, have another viable option. And again, he can get into further discussions about it, but one thing I want to clear up in a recent waste management article is that the export quotas are just guidelines, and I just want to say that this is a false statement. They aren't guidelines. And I'd like to ask Jeff Bowman, as the operator of the landfill, would he today take solid waste from Macomb County to the St. Clair County landfill if they are just indeed quotas? So I'd like to turn it over to Jeff, if that's okay, just to answer that question. And
I'm going to tell the St. Clair County story. I can wrap that up. Do you want to finish up and then I can?
No.
Oh, I'm good, yeah.
It's all you.
My name's Jeff Bohm, and I'm the St. Clair County Board Chairman. You would say, why is St. Clair County here and why are we in the discussion? I don't think a lot of people know that St. Clair County actually owns a landfill. We are located in Smiths Creek. We're roughly 17 miles north of here. And at the time when the discussions as far as opening an additional landfill came before us, I talked to Jamie a little bit about it. Now, I know Jamie and the board took a lot of heat over this decision, obviously. But from a county board and from a township board's perspective, when you're talking about the shrinking revenues that they are faced with today, it is very well documented that New Haven, as many communities, are struggling. So I have to give them credit for going out and looking at different alternatives to try to have additional funding to help continue. Now, granted, yeah, I did attend your meeting. It was not popular. There was a lot of people opposed to it. So after that is really when St. Clair County got engaged with New Haven, and Jamie reached out to us as a viable solution. So we were working on this, I don't say behind the scenes, but do we become another alternative towards this? So Jamie, I do understand that hat, and I do appreciate you listening to your citizens and to go to bat for them. And at the time, when we talk about St. Clair County, why would we want trash? St. Clair County, our trash volumes in 2003 were 370,000 tons. Currently, today, we do 170,000 tons of trash, okay? Our trash volumes are significantly down, and trash volumes, if you look at landfills all over the state, are significantly down. And I'm not gonna say I know a lot about landfills, but we do own our own landfill, and we are actively engaged in landfill issues on a regular basis, unlike many counties or cities, because they don't own their landfills. So at the same time, Jamie put us in touch with the Rizzo Environmental, and we had them out to look at our landfill. Our landfill is kind of unique. We've developed a process called a bioreactor technology. 8 years ago, we put this into place. What a bioreactor does is essentially you inject septic into trash, and it breaks trash down 8 times faster than traditional methods. The process works great. It's well documented. But ironically, one of the things you need to keep the bioreactor process going is you need a steady stream of waste to continue it. So we are in the need of additional trash. And we've been talking in St. Clair County for the last year and a half about this with everybody from our townships, counties, so on and so forth. Now, to answer the question, St. Clair County is a closed county. St. Clair County does not let any trash leave St. Clair County. St. Clair County does not import any trash. Some people would say that's a good thing. It's a good thing when your volumes are there to support your landfill operation. When your volumes go down so low that you're not able to support your landfill operations, you have to look for that. So back to Chuck's point earlier, if they wanted to send trash to St. Clair County today, that could not happen. There are steep fines that are imposed with that. We've had haulers that have taken trash out of St. Clair County before, and I won't mention names, but they won't like the fines that they tell you that they've received because of the closed county. So to go through the process of amending a solid waste plan takes time. You have to go through all your different cities and municipalities. Macomb County would have to sign off on their end. 66% of all the townships, villages, so on and so forth. Same with the St. Clair County. We'd have to do the same. We've approached our people. Our originally discussion was with Lapeer County. We have a bunch of governmental working relationships with Lapeer currently, and we do a little bit with Macomb, but we approached Lapeer County as far as amending their plan. And Lapeer County only produces 80,000 tons of trash in the course of a year. So even if we got half of their trash, the volumes aren't significant enough. So we really needed to look somewhere else. The two areas we go to are either the Canadian waste streams, which come across the Blue Water Bridge every day that drive through our county, or working with Macomb County. The Macomb County then we become another viable solution eventually long-term. We have 92 years worth of life expectancy currently today in our landfill. If you said you increase those volumes, we've purchased additional property. Capacity issue for St. Clair County is not an issue. We have a tremendous amount of room to be able to grow. And I will tell you though, there are other technologies on the horizons, make it no mistake. It's well documented, different things that different companies are doing around the country that we see. So the way you process trash today versus how you process trash in 30 or 40 years from now, it's going to be way different. That bioreactor did not exist 8 years ago. So I just appreciate the working relationships. Jamie reaching out really to St. Clair County being a solution, because we probably weren't in the discussion at the time as a viable solution. Getting Chuck and everybody together, and we're not the whole piece of the puzzle, but we are one piece of the puzzle. I do appreciate you having me out today, and I'm going to stay back for some questions, answers after these guys are done talking.
Next, I just want to turn it over to Jamie Kincaid for a second.
I would like to, first off, thank Rizzo Services, but also the Citizens for a Better Macomb. Daniel, your group was very active, very boisterous, and hopefully with this landfill situation taken care of, we can focus on other things to make the village better. So I hope we keep the same steam and the same momentum that you currently have with the landfill towards other issues and situations in the village. The original thought process with the landfill was, economics. It came down to dollars and cents. I think from day one we knew it was a long shot, not just at the local level, but as far as the county is concerned and as far as the state of Michigan was concerned. After having the meeting that Commissioner Bowen spoke about, but also that August council meeting, and I seen the residents, and the residents were very displeased with any potential landfill. And when you're in public service, you may have an opinion or you may want to do something, but you have to defer to what the residents' wishes are. So after that August meeting, I had an opportunity to sit down with Commissioner Bowen. Then we sat down with Mr. Rizzo and looked at options. There's an ongoing process. We sat down with County Executive Hackel. We tried to turn every stone possible to provide an option outside of a landfill. And with that being said, I do definitely want to, like I said, thank Rizzo Services for relinquishing any claims against the village, any liability, holding us harmless. I mean, that shows more than what a businessman. It shows it as a human being that you have compassion and morals. So I appreciate that. With that being said, today was in the works for probably about 6 months. It just didn't happen today. And the solution, is St. Clair is part of it, but this is a bigger problem or a bigger issue. Not just the landfill issue, but obviously economics are an issue, not just in New Haven, but everywhere. With the threat of the landfill or the potential landfill out of the picture, we can focus on bigger and better things. And, I think we're all part of the solution. So as we continue to move forward, like I said, I hope that Citizens for a Better Macomb continue to be proactive in seeking out solutions to help the village move forward, but also Macomb County move forward. With that being said, I'll let Daniel, I don't want to butcher your last name, but I'll let Daniel come to the podium and say a few words.
I'm Daniel Van de Kerko, President of Citizens for a Better Macomb County. I'm not going to spell it, but if you'd like, I do have business cards afterward. First of all, I wanted to thank everybody for making it out here today. This is a very important issue that's been on the minds of many of our county's residents for months now, and we're happy that this chapter is finally coming to a close. As a group that was initially at the forefront of opposition of Rizzo's first proposed new landfill in our community, Citizens for a Better Macomb County is excited to be here today to acknowledge an alternative solution that we believe is both fair and logical and is in the best interest of our county's residents. What has taken place today did not happen overnight. There was no smooth, clearly outlined path to follow that led us to this conclusion. Rather, quite the opposite was true. Myself and my colleagues, as well as many other citizen activists, spent countless hours in the first few months refuting and rebutting statement after statement made by Rizzo Environmental Services, in the papers, through various social media outlets, at events, and in various municipal buildings, such as the one we're in now. While we were, and still are, adamant that a new landfill in Macomb County is entirely unnecessary to service our trash disposal needs, we did listen with objectivity to all points brought forth by various parties. When export quotas came into the discussion, we felt that this was one point regarding the status quo that could not logically be defended. In many ways, it creates a monopoly of waste disposal in Macomb County in favor of one company over another, with little to no benefit for the actual residents of our county. Lifting export quotas just made sense to us in two ways. First, it is both fair and logical, as it allows the free market to work in order to allow for reasonable pricing at competitive rates. Second, it helps to preserve our community's environmental outlook and maintain our county's appeal by eliminating any immediate need to open a new landfill in our county. By exporting more of our waste outside our boundaries, we can offer a more pleasant and desirable place to live for our current and prospective future residents who are looking to make Macomb their home. Again, while we certainly butted heads when this all began, we are very happy that to have the opportunity to objectively sit down with various parties and come to a conclusion that made sense and is in the best interest for our community. We are happy today to support the lifting of Macomb County's export quotas in order to preserve our county's future.
I just wanted to see if there was any questions by anybody.
I don't have a question, but I have a little statement I'd like to make. The next time the village decide to do something like this, it would be very important that they call a meeting to get the people in the village together to see this, and then they can get an understanding of how the people feel before this happened. This could have been prevented. That's all.
Anybody else? Well, the only last thing I wanted to say is, I think the objective here for us, it's kind of the pink elephant in the room, is if the current landfill wasn't accepting so much Canadian waste, most likely we would have gotten a much better price due to the volume of waste that we have, and the current landfill would have been forced to deal with us, and we would have had a place to dispose, and none of this would have started. So I think that's the real issue next, is why is there so much Canadian waste coming through these communities to Pine Tree Acres? So that's the last thing I wanted to say. And if there's anything else anybody else wants to say or add to that?
Canadian trash is commerce, constitutionally protected, 92. They ruled against it. Trust me, it all comes through St. Clair County, so we know it very well. Whether you like it or not, it's still going to come. And the volumes are down roughly 40%. Toronto opened a landfill outside of there, which didn't take in the volume. So we're seeing the number of trucks that are actually coming across the Blue Water Bridge, because we get those numbers from there. But to stop it, essentially, and why is it coming over here? It's cheaper to dump it over here than it is over there.
How much hazardous waste are we exporting to Canada?
How much are we sending out?
Yeah, hazardous
all of
waste.
our really, really bad stuff goes to Canada. I don't know how many people know that.
They're
There's a
doing the
landfill. Where's that
taxes.
at? It's Toronto.
Yeah, there's one in Toronto. There's
I
also
don't have sheer
EQ.
numbers, but that's where it goes. I mean,
Yeah.
if anybody tells you anything different, that's.
So we're sending our toxic waste to Canada and we're getting their household waste.
Yeah, and believe it or not, their household waste is actually, they do a lot more recycling and stuff, and their household waste, ironically, the Canadian waste streams are generally cleaner than the US waste streams because of recycling. So those is what we've been trying to actively get Canadian waste, because the household waste is really what works in our bioreactor. So we have a different problem than a lot of landfills with the build it and fill it type of thing. Ironically, we need trash, or we need particular waste streams to produce gas, which then we have a generation system through DTE, produces enough power for 4,000 homes. So I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm saying, does any other community have a bioreactor like that in
No,
this?
we have a patent on it,
Oh,
and we're looking to sell the technology, by the way.
very cool.
We've had other people that have come and looked, and It costs a lot of money to develop though, and it's where we are the test, the EPA. We're not the best practices, but like anything, when you do this, you have to go through the test portion of it. We've been in year 4 now, proving the math works, the science works behind it. Heavily, the state and everybody else, but we finally got the ability to do it other places. Bioreactors don't work everywhere, depending on where you're at. I mean, we're kind of unique where we're at. You do need septic as a product. That's another big thing, that even with all the septic that we have in St. Clair County, which comes out of septic tanks, you inject it back in, we need a lot more septic. So even opening up Macomb County gives us an opportunity to bring in more septic. We're a closed county. We can't bring in any trash from anywhere. So going back to his point, we need to amend these solid waste plans because there's certain products that we need that most times people, the problem with landfills, you hear so often, trash
Excuse me,
getting
Jeff,
ready to
Could
close.
you go to the mic, just so they can pick it up? Thanks.
Sorry about that. I thought I was talking loud enough. We're pretty unique. Then a lot of times you hear about landfills, we're going to close. We only got a couple of years worth of life, so on and so forth. We were very proactive. Even I've been on the board 9 years. This bioreactor 11 years ago. So we invested in these technologies. Like I said, they work. They do exist, and essentially, I don't want to call it a perpetual landfill, but the idea is when you do it, you're able to move to another cell, reduces your trash volume, you're able to go back and open that existing cell and put more trash in. So to say it's 92 years today, it's probably 192 years. I mean, literally, the life expectancy on that thing is tremendous.
It's phenomenal. Thanks.
Yeah. So we don't screw everything up in government.
Yeah, just a few things.
I'd like to make one more comment. You said that it's a matter of commerce on the federal level, I imagine, right? Accepting waste from Canada. However, there are out-of-state tipping fees that can get introduced to accept on loads of garbage that come from out of state. I know different states have different fees that they include, right?
Like a tax?
Like a tax, yeah.
I'm not that familiar with that.
Because that's the next step that our organization is going to look into, is to hopefully increase that to discourage importing of waste from out of state.
It's kind of in a catch-22 because of the volumes. I don't mean to. Here's the issue with the volumes. I mean, Canadian trash, believe it or not, comes in generally a lot of times cheaper than what even the locals are paying to get rid of their trash. People absolutely hate that. But your landfill is a fixed asset. It costs you X amount of dollars to maintain your landfill. You need X amount of volume to get there. When you don't, we're in a situation in St. Clair County, we are not getting sufficient volumes. And I mean, we're at that point where we either got to raise the trash rates through the roof to our residents, because you really see it when you're a closed county, because you don't have any other sources of revenue and you have to maintain this. So you have to be able to bring in additional trash from outside. And generally what happens when you look at these larger hauling contracts versus a guy sending a onesie, twosie truck, versus the big lifts, that trash per ton does come in a little bit less to be competitive. So that's well documented. We talk about that too. So to your point, if you discourage it so far, I guarantee you, if you did not bring Canadian trash into Michigan, probably 80 or 90% of your landfills would close and would go bankrupt, and you would have major implications. It's the nature of the business. I mean, you don't like it, but so.
I had a question from Rizzo. So the trash now, you guys, the attempt is to open it up and put it there. So is basically the trash going to go to Detroit then and St. Clair County? Is it going to be split, or how's this going to work?
Well, the way our plan was to, currently, a lot of volume is going to the Detroit incinerator.
And that's volume from here in Macomb County?
From Macomb County, Wayne County, and Oakland County that we service.
Okay.
We're also seeking a transfer station, and we also have a transfer station in the city of Warren that we're operating. So the city of Warren transfer station and the Pontiac transfer that we're looking to get, those volumes could either go to Genesee County or St. Clair County, or we could direct haul some of the northern Macomb County waste to St. Clair County. So that's we're going to kind of divide it up between those three resources. And as our company grows, then we've got viable options going forward. And that was our biggest concern, because we didn't have the Genesee County, we still don't until the plan's amended. We still don't have the St. Clair County. So currently, our main source is the Detroit incinerator. And we do still bring some volumes to the current landfill, Pine Tree Acres. But we pay a much higher rate than we would if we went to the other landfills.
So basically, you need St. Clair and Genesee to amend their plans so that you can.
Genesee doesn't need to amend their plan.
Okay,
Their plan is already allows for Macomb County Waste to come to it.
okay.
But Macomb County's plan doesn't even have Genesee County listed. So when I asked Genesee County, can we ship some volumes from the City of Warren transfer station? They sent me a letter saying that they could not, and that if they did accept any garbage, they could possibly lose their operating permit. So until the plan's amended in Macomb County, they will not accept any garbage from our City of Warren transfer station.
And St. Clair County, what's the status of that? I guess?
Well, they have to amend their plan in Macomb County first, which is, not knocking Macomb County politics is a whole lot different than St. Clair County. From the standpoint of we're just a smaller entity, we've been out in front of these discussions for the last year and a half. We have a solid waste committee board already formed. So for us to amend our plan, we could go tomorrow on. It's not throwing stones. Just Macomb County doesn't have a board yet appointed to seat it. And then you have just a much larger governmental entity you have to go. Amending a solid waste plan, you're talking a year and a half, 2 year kind of stuff. A year would probably be warp speed, I'm assuming.
We think that, in Oakland County, we think it's going to get done within about 9 months to 10 months, A to Z. So, and, Macomb County, we haven't even started yet. We have met with the commissioners, several of them. We've talked to Mark Hackle, and they seem to, be on board with our game plan today, at least from the past discussions. So we think that the likelihood of it moving forward today is a lot greater than it was.
We already started the discussion with Lapeer County, but when we found out how much volume Lapeer County would actually even be able to produce for St. Clair County, it wasn't significant enough. So that's where the
Just wanted to make a note on the process of establishing a Macomb County Solid Waste Committee. Right now, it's actually passed by a couple of years, I believe. The duration of the people holding their positions right now on that committee has expired, I think, by 2 years. It hasn't really been revisited since, to my knowledge. In the creation of this committee, there are positions to be open and available for members of environmentally interested groups, as well as, I believe, 3 spots from the general public. I just want to encourage anybody who might be involved in putting that committee together to strongly consider certain vocal members within the community who have, some of which who are even in the room today, as well as our own organization to be able to fill some of those spots, so that there is an equal balance of checks and balances on that process.
So again, we're hopeful that the process now moves forward, and the county will move forward to amend their solid waste plan so we can exercise these other options. And we think long-term, again, it's going to promote a Macomb County that's going to really be landfill-free. Anybody else have anything? Okay, thank you for everything. Thanks for coming. We appreciate it.